Hi, my name's John. Welcome to another Wednesday catch-up video. In today's video I'm going to have a look up the garden at the new shed in the new casting area. The wife has now dubbed it the invisible shed. It's not really invisible, but it's not bad. It could be a lot worse. I'm also going to show another casting video from the archives. I think this one is a little bit of pattern making. That's enough talk. Let's get on with tonight's video. I couldn't find any invisible paint, so I painted the sheds grey instead, and it certainly seems to blend in quite nicely. The wife's happy with it. Well, happy-ish. Believe it or not, I've actually made a start taking this area up. Some storage shelves and things, and I've been hunting some of my casting gear out, ready to start doing a little bit of casting again. Not quite sure. I think they're going to stop where they are. I'll be moved around a little bit more. I'm just probably going to stop there. It's ideal to walk into. I need to sort that out. That's like a metal store. Needs probably some partitions putting in there. There's a lad on one of the forums I go on. It's actually a MIG welding forum. Asked us if I could cast some nameplates for a narrow gauge locomotive they're working on. I said, as long as you do the patterns, I'll cast them for you, because all the times in the patterns. You've got a friend of his to make these patterns. He's made a decent job of them, but the way the letters are, there's no chance at all of this coming out with the sander. They're too square, there isn't enough draft on them. Plus to cast it out of bronze, there's a colossal amount of bronze just in the base alone. I can't melt that much. So I've decided I'll do the patterns for him, and I'm going to look out for some world car number plate letters, which he's done. He's found enough to do the job. When I was an apprentice in the motor trade, I've made literally thousands of number plates up, and these are the letters you used to use. There was a frame that you put on the number plate and you punched holes in. They went on, there was like an aluminium stock clip went on the back, and when they didn't work, you used to melt the end with a soldering iron. I've thrown thousands of these out. When the modern laminated number plates came in, these were totally obsolete, and now, if you can find them, they're quite expensive. But they're a nice letter, the draft's all the right way, they're nice and smooth. These will definitely cast easily. What I need to do is cut the little tags off the back. Cut the tags off the back, and I'm going to sand them nice and smooth, and these can be glued onto the pattern. I've decided to use this to make the base of the pattern with. It's like a modern type of formaker. It's like an insulating board you use on big circuit boards. It's good stuff to work with, but it's nasty stuff. It's poisonous to dust. I've cut it with a grinder, and I've actually cut it outside. I'm going to put it in the milling machine and mill it square, mill the edges straight, and we can set the letters out, and I'd simply glue them on there, probably with some super glue. I might probably put an edge on as well to give it a bit more shape. I think the first thing to do is try and get this in a milling machine and just try and get the edges squared up. I've got a bit of nice flat bar set up on the table, and I've just got enough travel to be able to machine this edge square. Put a couple of clamp bars onto it. Put a lovely finish on it. So all I'm going to do is get a nice square edge to work to. What's a good clean anyway. You can certainly get one after this. I've managed to get it all except for the last quarter of an inch. That's 16 3/4 of an inch I've actually managed to cut, which is not bad for a milling machine of this size. It's certainly a lot more than it would have cut before I modified it. I cut quite a lot of material all the ends of it to make sure I had to get its full travel. Turn it round, do the other side. To make sure I get this front face square, all I'm going to do is line up the back face I've just machined with the back of the table, like that. Not rocket science, nice and simple, very accurate. It's often the simple, easy ways are overlooked. And you can mess around with a clock gauge along there, but simply doing that, this is lined up with the back of the table. It can be nothing else except parallel at the front. I need to machine that in now, and it's got to be 90 degrees to that face. Once again, very simple. That simply goes on there. That pushes up against it. So that face now is parallel with that, which means that this is going to be running at 90 degrees to that. Even on a Chinese mill, it's 90 degrees. That's a classic example there, plain milling. That's conventional milling, going into the direction of the cut. If we go the other way, that's plain milling where the cutter's trying to pull the job in. You can do it with this sort of stuff, plastic, aluminium. You don't want to do it with steel, not on a lightweight machine like this. It's got its place in the industry, but it hasn't got its place in here. I've glued some thin edging around the sides of the pattern, and I've actually machined, or I've sanded a slight tape on it, what they call a draft. This is sort of coming out of the sand. The sand's going to go on there, and you turn it over and you lift it out that way, and the taper allows it to come out of the sand nice and easily. I want to put a nice fillet in here. It looks better, and also you don't want square corners on a mould. So all I use fillet wax is basically beeswax, and I'm using the ball out of my starret wiggler. Push it into the corners like that, and that pulls across and it leaves a lovely little fillet. I'll go all the way around with that, but then we'll set out the letters and stick the letters on, and I want to try and get this cast tomorrow. This gives a lovely concave fillet. Using beeswax, you can actually paint it if you need to. You can paint on the top of it. I'm not going to paint this because it's only going to get used twice. A lot of work goes into it. People don't realise how much work actually goes into a pattern. Casting's the easy bit. Making the pattern is the hard, time consuming part. Then I've got the letters spaced out, and they'll be right because Deb did them. Right, ready to glue them on. Got some Loctite all-purpose glue here, fairly thick stuff, and we're going to use that to glue them on. Want to make sure the spelling's right. Any excess glue can be cut off with a scalpel blade later, but I don't think it'll need to be. Look at that. Bastard! Once again, just time to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do, it is quite important. Anyway, thanks for watching.